Season 6 has just wrapped up its finale, and after that literally explosive Season 5 finale, there was so much to go into. We had father themes, we had to deal with the fact that Adrian Chase killed William's wife and all that, we had Deathstroke now on the team, and even, yeah, they kinda screwed the pooch on this one. Alright, so even though the finale aired a few days ago, I should warn you, just like every time I do TV reviews, this review will have spoilers. The best way I can start this review with is by simplifying my thoughts before diving deep into Season 6 of Arrow. And basically it was like this. The first half of Season 6 is more or less Season 5 quality. It was really good. The second half was not as bad, but not a lot over Season 4 quality. And Arrow being my favorite show of the superhero ones, even I cannot deny how bad Season 4 was. So in the first half we had this awesome conclave of villains. Villains that had been setting up, villains that had relationships with some of the heroes, villains that were menacing just by being on screen. We had Team Arrow dealing with the trauma of Season 5. We had Oliver dealing with the fact that he now had to raise William. And the way they used Arrow and Team Arrow and Felicity and Oliver in the first half was great. I love the conclave of villains. I love the relationship between William and Oliver. I love that Oliver and Felicity got married in the crossover, which by the way was awesome, but I'll dive more into it in The Flash. And we had this awesome father thematic going on because Oliver was trying to raise William on his own, and then Caden James was trying to get revenge for his own son that supposedly Oliver killed, and then they killed him halfway through the show, leaving the only bad villain amongst the conclave to be the main villain of the season, Rick Dragon. And we even had the stronger father thematic storyline going on with the new Laurel from Earth whatever I can't remember, with Quentin Lance, and the fact that he wants to deal with this thing that he wants to bring this Laurel to the good side, and she struggles with it. And that was the most compelling storyline of the season. But not only do they kill Caden James midway through, they start this whole Civil War, as the internet calls it, storyline. I prefer to call it Civil Fits, because every member of Team Arrow, except Oliver and Diggle, are throwing a fit. They suddenly just seem like 5-year-old kids, and it was pathetic. That's the best way I can describe this whole discussion or infighting storyline that they had going on. It was a civil fit. It was pathetic. Pathetic. Curtis has a company with Felicity. Dinah has been the most adult character of all of these, the most rational. She's on the police force. And Renee, sure, he has his histories with rage and all that and not thinking rationally, but still, come the fuck on. This was pathetic. Pathetic for each and every one of these characters. And it's really bad when you have a storyline where you can see that one character is absolutely right and the show keeps trying to tell you he's not, or at least tries to tell you to doubt if he's right, but he was right. Oliver was absolutely right. This wasn't like Civil War where you can be on either Captain America or Iron Man's side, but you get to the end of the film and you think, okay, I can see why the other guy thought in that way, but in this, yeah, Oliver was right. Fuck you all, Team Arrow. But even in the second half, when he was left alone, Arrow had some great moments in the episodes that dealt with his friendship with Diggle being damaged, and that episode where he is chased by the ghost of Adrian Chase and he is faced with the sins from his past. That was probably the best episode of the season entirely. But Rick Dragon being the main villain is so boring. They even had an entire episode dedicated to him while he was trying to put more power into his hands to control the city. But even that episode was so fucking boring. It came out of nowhere, came right after, if I'm not mistaken, that episode where Oliver is faced with the ghosts and sins of his past, and I just think that stopped the show entirely. They had no idea how to resolve the second half of the show because they just ended what was set up in the beginning so fast midway through. But now let's talk about the finale. Oliver was the mayor in the season. I thought that was great. He passed on the baton to Quentin Lance. I thought that was really good as well. And Quentin Lance dies in this finale. And yeah, that was compelling. Why? Because as I said, the storyline with Quentin and the new Laurel, that was the most compelling aspect of this entire season, bar none. There was no competition when it comes to what was the best storyline, how it developed through. And this storyline occupied the entire season with no dragging. That is an example of how good these storylines can encompass a 23 episode season. And Oliver admits to being the Green Arrow. He doesn't even kill Rick Dragon, so I guess we'll have to deal with Rick Dragon again, which I just want to shoot myself with an arrow in the head, and I just did this, which is not an arrow, but whatever. And he goes to prison, and what I think they're going to do is, if they do it well, of course, is they're going to take ideas away from that supposed Green Arrow movie script that was going around a few years ago, written by David S. Goyer, which was called Green Arrow Supermax, I think, where he was in prison with all these famous DC villains. I don't think the famous DC villains part will be adapted into the season of Arrow, but I like how the season ends for Oliver. He was alone in this entire season, but now he is alone in jail. And sure, he can have visitors and whatnot, but I think the first half, or at least until the crossover, which is around episode 8 or 9 of each season, they should have Oliver in jail. Because again, he can have visitors. It doesn't mean he has to be alone and the other members of the team or Felicity or Deagle or whatever cannot show up. They can visit him in prison and whatnot. And I like that. I like the prospect that it gives. But I'm not so confident they will do that. Arrow has a lot that it can do well in the next season. Just like it had a lot that it could do well in this season. On the first half, yeah, they pulled it off pretty nice. On the second half, not so much. Arrow Season 6 as a whole did disappoint me. I can't call it a bad season. I think it's an okay season. I think it's an enjoyable season, especially if you take out the best episodes of the second half and put them together with a really good first half of the season. It is not as good as Season 5. It is not as bad as Season 4. Right there in the middle is where I'll put it. Arrow Season 6 for me gets a martini. It's an enjoyable time, a good time, anytime. But what did you think of Arrow Season 6, my beautiful geekies? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Did I forget to mention anything that you wanted me to mention? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. I'll have a review for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 tomorrow, and I'm going to try to give you my review for Fahrenheit 451 from HBO today as well. And don't forget to come and join us in the spoiler Q&A for Deadpool 2. It's live, so come on by at 9 p.m. London time and check your time zones. Thank you so much once again, you guys are the best, and so until the next review, you stay beautiful, you stay geeky, and if you haven't so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so you can be geeky united!